Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Blindspot Season 5, Episode 2 reaction. This is an installment where we get to a lot of exciting stuff. We have a title, We Didn't Start the Fire.
Yep.
Has to be one of my favorite Blindspot titles ever. Makes me want to sing the
And
song.
we're
and
not,
no.
we're not going to do that. This is not going to be a Billy Joel sing-along for anybody who's tuning in who thinks that that's what's going to happen here. We promise we're not going to do that to you.
But it would be fun. Okay, probably wouldn't be fun. It does make me think of that episode of The Office, though, with Ryan in the microwave. But here we go. We got a lot to talk about. We have undercover missions. We have Bill Nye giving the performance of Bill Nye's acting career.
Yes, and we also have Patterson's first name is revealed. We also have a bit of an update on how Rich is doing after everything, with him being on the black side and how that's actually still affecting him. There was a touch on that.
Before we dive into any of this further, though, if you guys do like this video, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates we've got coming up your way. I feel like the big story, and I know this is not probably going to be relevant to every episode from here on out, but it's Patterson's name. How can Patterson's name not be the biggest story coming into this?
Absolutely. So we're going to dive into the biggest story. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, that doesn't want to know, plug your ears right now. Everyone who wants to know, here we go. Finally, her first name is William. And for me, it was a really cool reveal. She was named after her dad, and that's just so cool. I mean, that's not something that usually happens for daughters to get named after their dads. And her last name is her mom's last name. Again, something that normally you don't get to see. It's usually the dad's last name. And, you know, your son gets your name as well, sort of thing. So this was a really nice twist on it.
I really like this a lot, and I was really worried that I was not going to like it, because I feel like a good 50% of the time you have these characters that have a mystery around their name, and then they reveal it, and it's kind of just like a wah, like, and it never lives up to the hype, but it actually sort of fit. I think it pays homage to Bill Nye. Yes, William, atypical name for a woman. There was that Doctor Who companion named Bill, though. That's kind of close.
It's pretty close, but it was a big payoff, I feel. I mean, your dad is Bill Nye, your name is William after him. I mean, does it get any better?
I don't know if it gets any better. This was as fun of a reveal as I could have hoped for. I'm sure if you guys had other names that you wanted it to be, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and I mean, and it makes sense in a lot of ways for her to not want to go by William, and maybe why all this time she's kind of like, it's like being a girl named George or a boy named Sue and all that kind of thing, right? So I understand why she might have a little bit of a problem with it, but at the same time, sometimes you gotta embrace a little bit of the strange, especially when your dad is Bill.
Embrace the strange feels like a good tagline for this whole season. I mean, this episode, it begins with what is apparently Bill Nye playing video games, which, by the way, Bill, if you ever want a game, I'm here. We can have a good time. I'll teach you about Skyrim. We'll figure it out. But it is I loved this episode, mostly because I love Bill Nye. I love the idea that they're going to sort of use Bill Nye as almost an undercover agent in order to save them. Just a really fun premise.
And it was really surprisingly emotional as well. I mean, Patterson hadn't gotten to see her dad in a while. She doesn't know when she's ever going to see him again. I mean, she's on the run right now. Who knows if they're ever going to be able to clear their names. I mean, I like to feel that they will. This is the final season, but she doesn't know that at this point. So it was very emotional seeing them, that they had both recorded messages for each other, really got me. I mean, there were so many nice moments between them.
It was really sweet, and I jokingly say earlier this is the best acting performance of Bill Nye's career, but he's not really an actor, and they did lean heavily on him within this episode. And I guess Bill Nye the Science Guy is kind of a character, but it's still something he's sort of used to, and he may be used to this character, but he's sort of putting it in this really bizarre context of you have these emotional moments with your daughter. And then my favorite part of the whole episode is we have Bill Nye at this event, and they start really catching on to Bill Nye. Bill Nye going full crazy in the middle of this was incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, it was really entertaining, and it was cool to see him as part of this mission and being able to think off the cuff like that, to find a way to kind of get the distraction so that Weiss could go and meet with them. He did do a really good job, and it's true. Bill Nye's not really like an actor in the typical sense, but he held his own in this episode, and he was more than believable.
I would have really laughed if his technique didn't work. Would he have gone full, "Don't you know who I am"? Like, is that the Hail Mary at that point to pull like the ultimate jerkwad celebrity move? Seeing Bill Nye have like a tantrum would have also been very, very fun.
Yes, it would have.
But no, I like a lot sort of the construction of this, how they set this up. And I also really like the Weiss, here you go, you got to create a diversion speech. And this got very close, not to reference The Office too many times in one video, to the Dwight Schrute like fist pounding and just yelling random things at the crowd.
It did. He's like talking about sports.
Did he say Nutella at one point? I'm pretty sure he did. That is a speech I want to hear. Give me the Nutella speech.
Yeah, no, it was funny.
That was all really, really fun. And this is the thing, is that we know obviously there's very serious stakes at the middle of everything, because Madeline is sort of trying to further solidify her empire and root out possible moles. Weiss, who's in clearly a lot of trouble. But it's just like in the midst of all of this, having all of these little comedic moments and having even just a couple of the characters undercover, Weller's outfit and the hat. Like the Weller hat was tremendous.
So was Patterson's wig.
It was all really real. I love weird undercover outfits on these shows. They are always going to bring a smile to my face. I really feel like this episode delivered almost everything we could want with that. But then there is the reality of I don't know how much further they actually kind of got to getting answers.
Yeah, because it seems like everything that they were really trying to get to was this phone, and the phone is now gone. And I know Weller's really stuck on that it's not over yet, and maybe there's still a way to get their hands on it, but I mean, it doesn't look good.
It does not look good. It looks like they're going to have a lot of trouble, but I know we're not even 20% of the way through this season right now, so they got to make this like an even bigger underdog story before people can start to emerge at the end of it successful. But let's talk about the rich Dotcom stuff, because you mentioned that early on.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to touch on it. I mean, you can't have him being held in a black site spot for 2 months and being tortured and all these horrible things that are happening to him and it not have some kind of effect. And when they found him and brought him to where they are now in this spy bunker, that the ideas sort of felt like he was kind of back to himself. Now, we know that Rich is a guy who's not really going to show that much when it comes to emotions, or he holds a lot of cards close to his chest. When he's feeling bad about stuff, it's not something he's really going to go talk it out with everybody. So it came out through art, where he's kind of like, oh, let's get some artwork and let's kind of gussy up this place so that it doesn't feel like a big black hole, and it feels like somewhere that's a little more comforting or a little more normal and have that feeling. So by the end, when we had Tasha bring in the artwork, that was a really nice moment.
I thought that was a really just kind of good way to connect those two characters, because they are sort of the two people who are going through the most
Yep.
Where Reed's death wasn't like explicitly brought up all the time in this episode, but I think having her connect with Rich, who's going through his own trauma, I think was very, very much appropriate.
Yep.
This is the thing with Rich, is that I think it's so easy to go over the top with this character and make him into sort of this cartoony figure that I like how they're kind of going the other way with him right now. It's sort of like, okay, we're going to make, ultimately in this episode, Weller have a funny costume, and we're going to have Bill Nye be and we're going to have like actual emotional stuff for him.
The other thing that I liked of how they actually dealt with it, because a lot of time when you sort of deal with this kind of trauma that someone has had, it gets very dark. It is a very dark thing that happens, a very dark thing that's happening inside of you, and characters typically get a little more dark. Where with Rich, he became... it came out in a different way. And I like that they show that this kind of trauma can come out in all different kinds of ways, because it can. So with him, he was kind of forgetting things and making mistakes. His mind just wasn't focused when normally it is. And so, yeah, I really like that came out in a different way.
So as we start to look ahead now, I'll admit the thing I'm most worried about is we've already lost one character in the final season. I'm very worried about losing Weiss at this point, just because of the position they sort of left him in, where he's clearly just like being watched all the time now.
Yeah, and I mean, Madeline's crew grabbed him in the elevator. We know other people have been grabbed, so this is not looking good at this point. I'm really worried about him.
I'm concerned about that, and I'm also just sort of concerned where if they don't have Weitz anymore, where is the team going to get sort of as much help from? How are they going to have a go-between?
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe this next episode is going to end up leaning more into rescuing him, because if he is now being taken by Madeline's crew, and like, what use does Madeline have for him anymore? If he's not able to kind of be this patsy for her, then what does she need him for? So the show has a bar to reach with this to make this believable, that if they're going to keep him alive, why? What is the purpose? Because right now the purpose for Madeline is that she's using him as a patsy. Sign stuff. You're the face. You'll be the scapegoat. You'll be the fall guy. So if she doesn't need him for that anymore, then why is he alive?
He may go very well down into the Blindspot version of the Moon Door from Game of Thrones, and I think he's gonna be okay. I really don't think they're gonna kill him off. I think we still need a character like that to sort of infiltrate things. I think he's just gonna have to get very, very creative.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to try to do a good job of sort of figuring out what's going on from afar. This is the bad news. We don't have a new episode next week. It's sort of like you guys make us wait for pretty much a whole stinking year
Yep.
to get to the final season. And now, 2 episodes in, when everything is gearing up and we've just learned about William Patterson, you take this away from us.
And for what? There's nothing airing right now. Like, why not just give it to us?
Yeah, it's one of these things. Maybe, well, I guess the silver lining is we'll have more stuff on in the summer when there
True.
really isn't going to be anything on.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was a fun episode. It was good diving into it, but of course we've got to know from you guys. What did you think about Blindspot Season 5, Episode 2? Happy with Patterson's name? Happy with Bill Nye? Let us know all of your thoughts in the comments below. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.